If it was not that God causes some people to be checked by others, there would have been demolished many monasteries, churches, temples, and mosques in which the name of God is oft mentioned. God will support those who support His cause. Indeed, God is powerful and mighty. Now, in this verse of the Quran, you can hear a lot of tolerance. The one verse that's talking about now you can fight talks about preserving monasteries and temples and other buildings of religious worship. And when you go through the lands that were controlled by the Islamic State for centuries, you will see the Church of the Nativity. You will see the Church of the Resurrection. You will see churches and synagogues by the numbers. And you will see Christians that have lived there for centuries and can trace their lineage back before Muhammad, which is a clear proof that what? Islam was not killing all the infidels and killing all the Jews and Christians as these people lie out their teeth with hatred burning from the Satan who told them so. I'm sorry, I have to let off a little steam at this point. So, I will read another verse, and I'm going to read it to you as many of you heard it in the media, on many types of media, and then I will read you the context. Kill them wherever you find them. This is in the Quran. It is. It's in chapter 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 190 and 193. Now I'll read you the verse before it and after it. And then you tell me if people saying where the Quran says kill all the infidels wherever you find them was reasonable. For the sake of God, wage war on those who wage war against you, and do not be aggressors. In truth, God does not love the aggressors. Kill them wherever you find them and expel them from where they expelled you, because persecution is worse than murder. Do not fight them at the sacred mosque until they bring the fight to you there. If that happens, then kill them. That is the recompense for those disbelievers. And if they cease fire, then know that God is indeed forgiving and merciful. This is the context. And if you see, it's quite common to the concept we all call just war that has been recognized in the UN since the Geneva Conventions and before and so forth. Chapter 7, a chapter that has a lot of the issue of the law of rules of war engagement. So it talks about if there became a war between you and the non-Muslims. In chapter 7, verse 61 of the Quran, if they incline to peace, then you are obligated to make peace with them. The one that the young man read, God bless him, chapter 2, 256, there is to be no compulsion in religion. And chapter 18, Surah Al-Kahf, verse 29, say the truth from your Lord. Whosoever desires, then let him believe. And whosoever desires, then let him or her disbelieve. The Quran is full of tolerance. It is the only religion when the state of people was ruled by its religion that tolerated other religions and allowed them to freely practice their faith under its rule. So this whole thing about the Sharia law is a big twist around the facts and turn things over and make the opposite true. I want to talk to you about what we call Sharia, the Islamic law. There's no reason to say Sharia, because it's an Arabic word. We speak English here. It means Islamic law, but they want to use some foreign word to make these foreign crazies seems like a big threat to you. It's all part of the agenda and the way to get in your head and make you hate people, right? If you look in the history of the persecution of blacks or African Americans, you can see a lot of the same stuff happening. It's just history we should learn from it. A lot of us think it's a boring class in high school, but actually it is something that we're supposed to learn and grow from as mankind. Our Islamic law has 5 objectives. There are 5 objectives that the consensus of Muslim scholars have extracted from our Quran and from our teachings of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings of God be upon him. The first is the protection of monotheistic faith. That Islam is saying that the declaration of the oneness of God is the most sacred thing that exists. That is the most important and crucial reality to being a human being, is recognizing where we came from, where we got all that we have, and who we owe it to in our lifestyle, showing a little gratitude. So if you look in Islamic law, you will see a lot, the 5 pillars of Islam is governing and arranging and structuring a Muslim's life daily, monthly, and yearly, and lifetime to have a base of the establishment of the oneness of God. And in the Islamic tradition, as we said, there is something called the people under the protection, Ahl al-Dhimma. Many people have turned that thing around and made it the second-class citizens who get no love and respect. No. Islamic law has said, if you're a Christian or a Jew or someone who declares the oneness of God and believes that you have a religious book telling you as such, then your religion is protected under the Islamic State. You will be a non-Muslim citizen of an Islamic State. You will have to pay a tax. So somebody said, that tax is not fair. Oh, it isn't fair. Why don't they make them pay the zakat, which is a religious obligation on Muslims? Because that's a religious concept that Muslims believe in. Non-Muslims don't believe it, so it would be compulsing them to religion to make them pay it. We pay it. We should be. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? So when there's a non-Muslim member of the Islamic State, they pay a tax for the state's growth and to spread the wealth to those that need. So that is the preservation of human life, and that is the preservation of religion. The second preservation or objective of Islamic law is human life. That is sacred. All people on this earth, according to Islamic laws, life is very sacred and should be respected, except a group of people. One group are those who are breaking the laws of God under the Islamic law. If someone kills somebody else, commits adultery or rapes or buys and sells alcohol or sells and manufactures alcohol and drugs and these things, in the Islamic law, in an Islamic country, those are laws that call for capital punishment. Here, generally speaking, we just do the murder for murder, which is our law here that we have in most of the states of the United States of America. So, other than that, if somebody's coming after you and they're trying to kill you, you have the right to defend yourself. And if you kill them in that way, then you are innocent. Thirdly, if there is a Muslim nation who has a Muslim leader, and that Muslim leader calls its citizens to come to war, what we call here the draft. In Islamic law, it is not so fair as we see it here, that, oh, well, we don't need a draft. Well, in Islamic law, if there is a war, the draft is an obligation. Every male must go fight the war against the oppressors and aggressors who are invading and occupying their lands. Okay? Similarly, if there is a next door nation that is showing hostility and aggression, then they may go meet them at the borders even if they haven't invaded. So the human life is sacred except for those who are trying to take your life or in capital punishment. Other than that, this rogue vigilantism has no role in the history of Islamic law, and no scholar has ever allowed it. The third is the protection of the human mind. The human mind is a special thing. We are not animals, nor did we ever come from an animal in the meaning like apes and so forth, right? We are human beings who live in a body that is a mammal. It is technically an animal. But we have a mind that separates us from everything else. Our mind has an ability that is beyond any other creation for intelligent, creative structuring of the world around them. So we need to protect that mind. So for this reason, in Islam, it's categorically forbidden to take or use drugs or alcohol or any of the sort. The fourth objective of Islamic law is to preserve the family, lineage, and honor amongst itself, that what you call the ties of the womb are protected and taken care of. So for this reason, we believe very strongly in the sanctity of marriage, and we do not believe in allowing people to live a fornication or adulterous lifestyle. And it is a very serious sin for somebody to do as such. Similarly, if somebody is born of parents, they must keep the name of those parents in their lineage, even if somebody else is going to raise them and act as a surrogate parent.